talking music, building businesses, and the grit in the journey. We're Skrizz and Adam, and welcome to The Rise.
And we are back. It is Skrizz, it is Adam, it is The Rise, it is everything you know and love. We are at episode 19. Adam, what is going on in your world right now?
I really like that intro right there. That was pretty good off the cuff. You're really settling into the groove on this intro.
That was hilarious.
That's good. It's no, man, I'm doing well. I'm just a few more days away from leaving Hawaii. I know I've been teasing that the last few episodes, but I'm about to hitch a flight to Austin, Texas. So I feel like you should be doing some shows in Austin.
I had something lined up, but it fell through. But I will be back in Austin during the summer. You heard
South by Southwest is coming. They need you.
And no one does South by Southwest anymore. So
really?
It's not like a thing anymore. I don't know.
I'm behind the times.
Yeah, sorry. So talk to me, Adam. What's on your mind? What are we discussing on The Rise today on both our journeys?
I figured last episode we talked about love, and hopefully you all got a chance to check out that episode. And by the way, if you like at all what we're saying, give us a thumbs up, give us a comment. We love hearing from you. But if you heard last episode, we talked about love. And I thought today a good episode would be to talk about a different type of love, but it's around friendships. Because one of the challenges that I've had, like in when I was growing up, I had a really great group of friends. We would hang out, do everything together. But for me, I went to college in Boston. I grew up in New York, so I didn't get to see my friends quite as much then. And then when I started my company, like with a lot of stuff, I went all in on that. And one of the things I've always struggled with is balancing friendships with, as we call it, the rise. So I thought it'd be an interesting topic for us to throw around and hear how you do that balance and see where the conversation goes.
That's great. And I think, just to kick it off, friendship is another form of love, like we talked about on the last episode. And, with that, we're on this journey, on this rise to, put yourself in the best situation and be the best self you can be. And part of that requires the most valuable commodity on earth, time, of course. And with you focusing on yourself, you have less time to focus on your friends and your loved ones. I can say confidently this year, as I'm transitioning to be nomadic, I've kind of realized my pitfalls. I'm so obsessed with my music and in my work and my travels that maybe I haven't been a good friend, or maybe when I had a funny thought in my head about something funny that happened or whatever, like I didn't text that person, you know what I mean? And I think just recently I've been like, this really stupid joke, I really should text that person, or like we should just go to the gym together once, you know what I mean? Even once every 4 months, because I might die. You never fucking know, you know what I mean? So I can say I've been bad, and I'm working on getting better. And I think, and this is not an excuse, I mean, this is just, growing pains and learning curves, but it's like I work with my friends, you know what I mean? Like everyone I work with is my friend. Like they're my brothers. Like so many people I work with in music, I get off the phone and say, I love you too, on a very, very, very regular basis. Men telling they love each other, you know what I mean? So it's, the areas get great. And I think it's such a blessing and a beautiful thing, but it's also like, it's also realizing like, it's got to be the same in football. It's got to be the same in whatever, you bust each other's balls on the field, you love each other, but you find ways to show each other that you love each other off the field as well, and then those that you don't have on the field, you have to find ways to give them the love that you're giving the people on the field. So I don't know if I answered any question there, but it is a struggle, and just being proactive and conscious, I think is the name of the game, Yeah.
And I feel like, as you start to go into this nomadic lifestyle too, and I've been doing it for almost a few years now, it is a challenge because you're always also making new friends, or at least you're trying to when you go to these new spots, and you're constantly trying to develop new relationships with new people. And it's for me, I think it's very exciting because what you see is there are just so many different types of people depending on where you are, depending on what phase of your journey that you're in. And I always think that's such an exciting part about traveling is the new friendships and relationships. Like I talked about last episode, leaving Hawaii, one of the toughest things is not just my family that's here, but also the good friends that I've been able to develop here. Because that is a big part of it too, is when you are traveling a lot, it's tougher because you don't get to have maybe as deep of relationships because you're not there, full time, but you do get to have more relationships with different types of people.
I want to piggyback on what you're saying because I so deeply relate with that, especially like from doing house parties and shows and settings where, I get off stage and say there's 70 people there. I get to meet every single person there or whatever. Like, I have 3,000 numbers in my phone. I say I have 0 friends, but I have 3,000 numbers in my phone. Not true at all. I'm just exaggerating. But it's a discipline. And I'm so grateful that, the people around me, I think, really get that. I think very few people don't. There are very few people that don't really understand it, but it's like, just like you can't maintain, let's say I have, maybe 500 people feel close to me that aren't fans. I mean, people that know me personally and have my number feel close to me. I don't have time for 500 people. You know that, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe the depth of the time consumption is kind of shallow, but it doesn't mean the connection isn't deep, and it doesn't mean it's valued, and it doesn't mean when I pull up to Montana and give you a hug, I don't mean it. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of managing that. That's definitely managing the thing that comes down to. You don't have all the time in the world to give people, but when you do, you have to make sure it's an authentic kind of thing. And if it's not authentic, I want nothing to do with you. Yeah,
it is interesting though, because it's like the at least from what I hear is the bigger you get and the more that you actually rise, the more difficult it is to have genuine relationships and friendships, just because you don't know what their intentions are. And that's what sometimes the top of the mountain is the loneliest place. And like we talked about Kanye, we talk about Kanye a lot, but that's one of the challenges for him is, does he have anybody that is honest with him and has his best intentions in mind and has his.
I'd say nobody. I mean, I think his position right now with all the controversy, all his business, all his financial, God knows what, like who, I can't think of a single person. I know his father's relationship isn't great with him. His mother's not alive. So it's like, who?
Yeah. And you see it with athletes. Yeah. You see it with a lot of business people, athletes. It doesn't matter. The bigger you get, sometimes the tougher it is to have those genuine friendships and relationships. Is that something at all that's a concern for you? Like, let's say you do make it to the top of it. Is that a concern for you at all? Or you're like, hey, if I get there, screw it. Let's figure it out as we go.
I mean, the gut reaction is figure it out as you go. I've actually not thought about this. I want to say one thing, then let's get back to that real quick. But this actually reminds, there is a business, the mafia concept of consigliere is essentially created to prevent the boss from being unaccounted for. You know what a consigliere is? Like number 2 in command. He's essentially like the consultant for the boss of the family. And it's kind of like a really good business model, actually. Like people should use that in their lives, of having like a number 2 person who only holds certain interests, who's meant to just keep you in check. So kind of, you need a consigliere. I will sign up for that job. And
it is true. I feel like
creating a business way of keeping you genuinely intact is actually makes sense. I mean, obviously companies have boards of trustees, but
exactly,
it's business. At the end of the day, it's too businessy. Back to your question. I can think of people I even know personally, like, changing their financial statuses and becoming significantly more lonely or paranoid. I'd say no. Let's get real vulnerable here. I can say this is, I mean, I've never said this publicly. I have this habit, and maybe it's a blessing. I can say it's probably my worst quality as a human being, but it's never failed me. My worst quality as a human being, and I feel so ashamed of it, but it's just somewhere in my DNA because I'm just so paranoid all the time, is that at any given moment, if anyone in my life, you, Adam, anyone in my life were to turn against me, I would know how to bury them to the ground. Like, I'm on the defense at any given fucking moment. I mean, down to like my blood. Like, I am ready for war at any given moment. I'm saying it, just putting it out in the universe. I'm very aware of it, and something I'm not proud of, but it's just in me. Maybe I will get free of that through spirituality. I don't really know.
The thing is, let's do a little psychology session here.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think is the root cause of that?
There's a root cause of that. There's a lot of root causes for that I can get into. I mean, I've been betrayed. I've been betrayed in several situations. And because of that, like, I just don't trust anyone. So again, at my core, I feel very, very like it is just me. It is me to the death of me. Like if I hate to say it, if my own parents turn on me, like I'm fine. You know what I mean? I'm ready for whatever at any given moment, like with anyone. So that like I already feel isolated, but I think because of that, also the reverse, like I communicate very, very hard with the people around me. Like, in a very loving, like I'm very loving towards the people around me, but I'm also very aggressive towards the people around me. Like everything's at a very high voltage. So it's like a very strong bridge, but it's a bridge I'm also ready to explode at any given moment. Again, I feel awful saying all this, but like, that's the true answer. It is what it is.
And the whole thing is the rise, right? So hopefully whatever the root is.
Maybe a year from now we'll do an episode. Right. I was like, I don't feel that way anymore. You know what I mean? And maybe I have a more strategic, but that's how I feel. And because of that, I'm kind of ready for whatever isolation or alienation comes with it, so it doesn't worry me.
Well, that's actually, we're going to do rapid fire in a little bit because I think that's fun. So, and the question I was going to ask you, I'd actually rather hold off until the rapid fire round. So in terms of friendship then, so the whole point of this episode is friends on the rise, all that. Have you lost any friends along the way because maybe they wanted to hold you back, or you felt at least like they were holding you back and maybe you were outgrowing them? Have you had any of those experiences before?
Actually, no. I've had no bridges burned. Like there are friends, like I have a friend, I'm not gonna say his name. I haven't talked to him in like 10 years, but like I promised him like he can play the drums when I do Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? And like, I'm still going to hit him up about that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be like, bro, like in 8 years, I'm like, hey, like I'm a man of my fucking word, roll through.
Yeah. There's a handshake on the line right now for that. Just so everybody knows.
You know who you are. You know who you are. Yeah.
There is a official handshake that when Skrizz plays at MSG,
you're coming up on
will be drumming
by the band. You know who you are.
Yep.
No hard feelings. You owe me a steak dinner though. I know that much, but you can do that after MSG. I'm in no rush.
That's a deal all day, every day. I love that.
Yeah.
So no, you never felt like you outgrew any friends. None of that.
No.
So it sounds like your only real friend issue is you are scared about, you're worried about being betrayed. You're worried about someone just backstabbing you.
Yes, for sure.
You have trust issues, man. You and Drake gotta huddle up.
Me and Drake. That's funny. All
right. So you ready for some rapid fire?
Let's bring it home. Right. Bring it home strong.
Let's do it. Here we go. So, best friend in the music industry.
My friend Andrew or Chris Webby, I'd say.
Okay. Who's the one friend you'd want to perform an MSG with?
Probably my friend Andrew, because we've played together musically the longest.
Who is the nicest, big time celebrity you've met that was maybe a little surprising for you?
Pat Monahan from Train is like the nicest, most respectful, time-giving human being I've ever met. And he's like one of the best-selling artists on earth, and you wouldn't guess that, which is crazy. Like super nice. Like he will, like we did a show in front of like 15,000 people in Pennsylvania, and I texted him I was in the same festival with him. I texted him like the morning of, and he like set me up to like be on stage with him the whole night. And again, like he doesn't do meet and greets. Like he's sold like, they're like the biggest like white person band ever. People forget how big Train is. And like, he just like walked off stage. And again, like he doesn't do meet and greets. He just goes back to his hotel. Like he like had a whole like tent just for us and like sat down with me and a really annoying girlfriend for like an hour and just chatted. That was a level of class act I haven't seen before. He had no reason to do that at all. Like no reason.
Should we get him on the podcast? I'm a big Train fan.
Yeah, let's get him on. I'm emailing him next week, actually. So maybe I'll bring it up.
Cool. Let's get him on the podcast. I love it. All right. Who Now I lost my train of thought with all that.
What's up?
I had a couple. I had a good one locked in there. I don't want to wrap up this rapid fire because I have a couple of.
Okay.
I have a couple of good ones. So Train, Pat, that's who we're gonna have on the podcast.
Yeah,
that was nice guest. Okay, that's good to know. Which place you performed had the nicest fans?
Awesome.
Favorite fans?
Awesome question. Madison, Wisconsin fucking rocks. I don't know why that is, but Madison, Wisconsin fucking rocks. And I heard on the radio, they were saying like the most stressful places to work, and there were a bunch of cities and like Vegas and whatever. The least stressful city in all of America to work is Madison, Wisconsin. Not talked about enough. Nicest fucking people on earth. They are just great. I mean, the Midwest in general is just so nice and down to they're so happy for you to be there. And if only 5 people go to the show, it feels like you're at Madison Square Garden. It's like, I don't know. It's not like that in New York, that much,
Oh yeah. Well, shout out to, and you're friends with her too, but shout out to my former roommate, Holly. She's from Kenosha, Wisconsin. So yeah, so Wisconsin does have just a nice, Midwest nice is a real thing.
Yeah, it's very real. Like they're very grateful. Like they treat artists with such a level of gratitude, and they know how to have a good time. Like you've been to New York shows, you've probably been to LA shows. Like everyone's so stiff, and they're all
they're not
having a good time. It's awful. It's awful. East Coast, get it together. What are we doing? It's awful.
All right, who is the most famous person you have in your 3,000 plus contact list in your phone?
I got a couple. I'll just say I have Rick Rubin's phone number. I have Eric Church's phone number. I feel like I got a couple wild ones. I mean, I got Pat's number. I feel like he's not that famous though. He's just like his band's a big deal. I say that's it. I got Rick Rubin and Eric Church's number.
Those are big ones. All right. So last one in rapid fire, which was kind of like a semi rapid fire, which is my fault for the little break in the middle. But this last one,
Time out.
You're not.
Someone's cut you off. I got Adam Rosen's number. That's the biggest deal. Manifesting, looking back on this episode, 2035, me saying I have Adam Rosen's number. That's numero uno. Eric Church.
Well said. Exactly. Well said. All right. So I know you're not partying right now. I know that's not part of what you're doing.
I'm still at the Milk Bar every night. Don't get me wrong. Every night.
All right. Sober partying, or if you ever wanted to party with alcohol again, which I'm not condoning, but regardless.
Never know. Of course.
Regardless, who is the one person you would like to party with?
Can they be dead?
Sure.
Eddie Money. I'd love to do a shit ton of cocaine with Eddie Money. I don't even do cocaine, but I just love the novelty of just getting real fucked up with Eddie Money in the 80s at some LA strip club bender night. Just something about getting fucked up with Eddie Money sounds pretty cool. R.I.P. Eddie Money.
R.I.P. Eddie Money.
Eddie Money.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know who Eddie Money is.
Eddie Money has 2 tickets to Paradise. Take Me Home Tonight.
Oh, nice. Oh, that is a jam. Oh, yeah.
Take me home tonight. I wanna touch you. He had some bangers. He was a big influence on me, a really big influence on me, actually. I reached out to him several times before he died. I harassed him on social media, emailed his manager. I was like, I have hit records for you. Actually, my song Bad Desires was made for Eddie Money. But yeah, I was like, Eddie Money, we're making hits, and then he died. So I forgive you, Eddie Money, but you missed out. Could have been
Eddie Money. Well, in another lifetime, you and Eddie Money are going to have some fun.
Make some hits, hang out with some strippers, do some blow. It's going to be great.
Yep, we're not condoning any of that here on The Rise, but hey, what you do in your own time, it's your business.
It's your business. Cool. Episode 19, it's been a pleasure, Adam. Have an amazing evening. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. See ya.
See you guys. Bye.